Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings mythology maintain a delicate balance. It depicts the real-life conflict between the wishes of their immigrant parents and the desires of their first-generation Asian American children, while simultaneously providing the exciting action scenes that the MCU is known for. Before we move to the next step, please subscribe my YouTube channel so that you can be updated by my new videos. Director Dustin Daniel expertly balances both of these lofty ambitions, resulting in a Marvel Universe entry that is both emotionally evocative and deliciously entertaining enough to overcome its somewhat inconsistent graphics and unfulfilled narrative. Shang-Chi is a Marvel Comics character who appears in an American superhero film. It is the 25th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, MCU. Shang-Chi and his sister Xialing are drawn into a search for a mythical village by their father Wenwu, the commander of the Ten Rings organization. Shang-Chi was first adapted into a film in 2001, but Callahan was hired in December 2018 and work on it began in earnest. Cretton joined the project in March 2019, and it was quickly accelerated as Marvel's first film with an Asian lead. The film's title and main actors were revealed in July, indicating the film's ties to the Ten Rings organization and its leader Wenwu, who has previously appeared in the MCU. It has a worldwide gross of $422 million, making it the seventh highest grossing film of 2021. Critics complimented the choreography of the action sequences, the research and representation of Asian culture, and the cast's performances, notably Liu and Liang's. Plot: Xu Wenwu discovers the mythical Ten Rings that confer immortality and almighty powers thousands of years ago. He founds the Ten Rings organization, which goes on to conquer countries and overthrow governments across history. In 1996, Wenwu sets out to find Ta Lo, a village rumored to be home to magical animals. He makes his way to the village entrance through a mystical forest, but is stopped by guardian Ying Li. Wenwu abandons the Ten Rings after falling in love with her. Li chooses to depart with Wenwu after the villagers reject him, and they have two children, Shang-Chi and Xialing. Wenwu's antagonists, the Iron Gang, assassinate Li when Shang-Chi is 7 years old. Wenwu slaughters the Iron Gang and reclaims control of his organization. He forces Shang-Chi go through grueling martial arts training, but he won't let Xialing train, so she educates herself in secret. Wenwu assigns Shang-Chi the task of assassinating the Iron Gang's leader when he is 14 years old. Shang-Chi feels discouraged after completing his task, so he flees to San Francisco and takes the name Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi currently works as a valet with his best friend Katie, who is unaware of his history. The Ten Rings ambush them on a bus and take a pendant that Li handed to Shang-Chi. Wenwu anonymously informs Shang-Chi with Xialing's whereabouts, and Shang-Chi decides to meet her, fearful that the Ten Rings will go after Xialing's matching pendant from Li. He tells Katie about his past, and she insists on assisting him. They track down Xialing in Macau, where she created an underground boxing club after fleeing Wenwu. The Ten Rings raid the fight club, and Shang-Chi, Katie, Xialing, and her pendant are captured by Wenwu. They are led to the compound of the Ten Rings, where Wenwu uses the pendants to reveal a mystical map that leads to Ta Lo. Wenwu reveals that he has heard Li calling to him and believes she is being held captive behind a locked gate in Ta Lo. Unless they free her, he intends to destroy the village. He imprisons his children and Katie when they object. The three meet Trevor Slattery, a former actor who was imprisoned by the Ten Rings for mimicking Wenwu, and his Hundan friend Morris, who promises to escort them to Ta Lo. The party manages to flee to Ta Lo, a parallel reality populated by diverse Chinese mythological animals. They encounter Ying Nan, Li's sister, who tells them about Ta Lo's history. Thousands of years ago, the village was invaded by the soul-eating Dweller in Darkness and his minions, but it was saved by the Great Protector, a Chinese dragon who helped seal the Dark Gate to the Dweller's world. The Dweller in Darkness, according to Nan, has been persuading Wenwu to believe Li is still alive in order for him to open the gate. Shang-Chi, Xialing, and Katie join the villagers in training and preparing for the coming of Wenwu, wearing dragon-scale clothes and wielding dragon-scale weapons. Wenwu and the Ten Rings show up and launch an attack. Wenwu defeats Shang-Chi and throws him into a nearby lake, then uses the rings to strike the gate. Some of the Dweller's minions are able to flee, and the Ten Rings team up with the villagers to attack them. The Great Protector revives Shang-Chi before leaving the lake to fight the minions. Wenwu and Shang-Chi fight again, with Shang-Chi gaining the upper hand but sparing Wenwu. Shang-Chi is attacked by the Dweller in Darkness, who has escaped the weakening gate. Before being killed by the Dweller in Darkness, Wenwu saves Shang-Chi and leaves him the rings. The Dweller in Darkness is fought and killed by Shang-Chi, the Great Protector, Xialing, and Katie. Shang-Chi and Katie then return to San Francisco, where they are summoned to the Sanctum Sanctorum by the sorcerer Wong. Wong introduces Shang-Chi and Katie to Bruce Banner and Carol Danvers in a mid-credits sequence. The Ten Rings are producing a peculiar signal, they discover. After notifying Shang-Chi that she was going to disband the Ten Rings, Xialing becomes the new leader in a post-credits scene. Summary: Shang-Chi doesn't waste any time in laying out the rules. The film's first scenes are set in China, with all of the narration and dialogue in Mandarin, with subtitles. We don't hear a single word of English until the action transfers to San Francisco many minutes later. Even in 2021, when most spectators aren't familiar with subtitles, the decision to employ them in the opening scenes of an American blockbuster conveys a message. Shang-Chi may be Marvel's first Asian major character, but he and his family will not be treated as novelty characters in their own film. Shang-Chi rapidly separates itself with its action, which prioritizes precision and agility above brute strength or weightless CG trickery, though there's plenty of both, courtesy to the Ten Rings' godlike powers. The film's most exhilarating sequence is essentially a corridor fight scene set on a moving bus, and Liu looks the image of cool as he twists, swings, and kicks his way through half a dozen guys, the camera following his every move with rapt attention. The character's martial arts training, on the other hand, informs softer moments as well, such as a wuxia-inspired meet-cute between Shang parents Chi's that takes on the flirtatious symmetry of a dance. Shang-Chi barely feels like a superhero movie in moments like the latter, which takes place in a beautiful forest outside of a hidden kingdom and involves the use of enigmatic ancient relics. It resembles the wistful grandeur of Disney's live-action fairy tale adaptations more than anything else. Unfortunately, not even a warrior with Shang abilities Chi's can entirely shatter the Marvel pattern. Any moment Shang-Chi threatens to become too epic, the franchise's quippy, self-deprecating sense of humor, which does so much to pull its heroes back down to earth no matter how lavish their powers become, comes in. The jokes save Shang-Chi from becoming conceited, but they also take away from him. Cameos, references to the blip, i.e., the events of Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and an extensive explanation of what the Ten Rings of this title have to do with the Ten Rings from Iron Man 3 abound elsewhere in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then there's the obligatory third-act sky battle with shooting CG lights, which is always the least exciting section of any Marvel film, including this one. Oh, and don't forget about the two end credits scenes, which hint at how Shang-Chi might appear in future MCU installments. It's a lot to take in, as the characters constantly saying to one another. That's on top of a plot that includes not only Shang troubled Chi's connection with his father, which is explored through extended flashbacks, but also a rich mythology revealed through a frenzied exposition dump late in the film. There's a low-simmer subplot about Shang possible Chi's romantic interest in his free-spirited best friend, Katie, and a slightly higher simmer subplot about his sister, who's fed up with being ignored, which keeps getting sidelined because Shang-Chi also has to make room for a slew of characters who don't even show up until after the halfway point. Cast. The cast is also excellent, as is the case with many Marvel films. Simu Liu, in his first leading role, is one of the most memorable characters in the film. He's laid back, has a compelling personality, and conveys a great deal of emotion. I already know he'll be a big deal. Awkwafina is also excellent, bringing both heart and wit to the film. Meng-Er Zhang features a lot of great scenes and even a character who I'm looking forward to seeing more of in the future. Tony Leung as Xu Wenwu was also fantastic. This, I believe, is Marvel's response to the false Mandarin in Iron Man 3. So seeing this character on the big screen with a well-known actor behind him was something I was looking forward to seeing. I was also taken aback by how they managed to give a character that most people would dismiss as just another evil, history and complexity. Marvel has done a number of villains with understandable motivations in recent years, but this one struck me with how well it made me feel about this guy. While he is set up to be the film's main adversary, When you see his relationship with his family and his objectives, it becomes evident that the struggle is far more personal than most people imagine. Review. As amazing as the picture is, I believe there are a few elements that viewers will anticipate to see. It does, for example, end with a standard Marvel finale, with numerous characters fighting CG creatures in a CG landscape. While this is true, as an action picture with a lot of huge aspects, it's difficult for me to conceive of another way to end it. There are also moments in which characters from Doctor Strange fight the Abomination from The Incredible Hulk, but they are largely used to generate buzz. There are even 2 end credits scenes that include known characters, but they still make me want to see more sequels. These elements don't annoy me because they weren't the movie's main focus. Instead, it was the hero's journey in the family conflict, which, in all honesty, helped this film stand out among Marvel's other entries. I hope you find this video helpful. If you liked the video, do like and subscribe as it really helps our channel. If you haven't seen the movie, go check it out, and give your feedback about the movie in the comments below.